Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be 5 bougie things that make mom life easier. I know from the title that sounds a little crazy and a little ridiculous. Bougie, to define it, because there's so many different variations, I guess, of the word, and here in America, apparently we use it very wrong. By definition, the word bougie is to aspire to a higher class than one actually is. That's the definition that I've always grew up knowing what bougie meant, and that's the reason why I always hated it. But apparently these 5 things that I am listing in this video were all called bougie, which in America now means or is used as someone who's creating an air of wealth, whether it's actually true or not. The things I have on my list are all things that I have actually done and used this year, going through quarantine and going through COVID, that literally made my life so much easier, gave me peace of mind, especially having 2 young children, 5 and 1, and a dog. Obviously, we've all been going through it, so I wanted to share the 5 things that I have on my list that literally made my mom life so much easier. The first one I want to use is HomeAdvisor/Thumbtack. They're both 2 different apps that you use on your phone or access online, and basically you get help around the house. I've used it for a carpet cleaner, and I've actually used it mainly for a cleaning service. A lot of people, I feel like, make the assumption and make the judgment about moms who don't clean their own house because I'm not naturally cleanly, and it kind of makes it seem like moms who don't do those things less than of a mom because she can't do all these things, all these million things in one, and that's aggravating. I have no shame. We found a perfect cleaner in our last house, which if you guys saw a cleaning video, our last house was much larger than I expected. It was a lot, and I was pregnant with our second child, so it was a lot for cleaning, and I was very tired very often. Going through the nesting phase, I couldn't really keep up with myself and wanting to nest because I wanted to clean, but it was just so much work. So it took me, in that last house, it took me 4 days to clean the house. We actually had a cleaner from HomeAdvisor who came out, did a wonderful job on the house, and she quit. After that, she was very nice and everything, but it was a lot of house for just one person to clean. And then we ended up finding someone else through HomeAdvisor who was a cleaner. 2 people came to clean that house, and it was about a 4 or 5 hour job. Thumbtack is another alternative you can use to HomeAdvisor if you don't need a full job or a full company to work with. I'm actually about to hire someone now because my closet, that's literally right here in my office, is full of stuff. For like an hour, maybe 90 minutes worth of work, I can have one person come in here who's naturally good at organizing and basically help me out, so I don't have to do that, and I don't have to constantly look at it every time I go in there when I need something. It's just an aggravation. It's just something that I don't like doing because I'm not naturally good at keeping things clean. It would be way more helpful if I had someone do what they're naturally great at in organizing and just help me out and make my life easier. So that way going forward, things should be easier. You probably won't hear this in a lot of other videos. This is something that I've used majority of COVID. It's a mobile pet groomer. During the whole COVID and quarantine process, obviously a bunch of businesses and things were closed. That included Petco and PetSmart, at least in our area. Now, where we used to live, PetSmart was about a 15-20 minute drive. I used to work at PetSmart when I was younger, so I'm naturally go PetSmart, but they changed their stipulations and things. So my dog, Avera, she was trained to always be next to me as a service dog and now emotional support. So when she's not with me, she has very high anxiety. One of the stipulations was that the dog had to walk back non-anxious without me or without being picked up. And she didn't always get the same groomer because every time I fell in love with the groomer and how they took care of her, it was always someone new every time because they ended up going to a different store or they quit. After that, I switched to Petco. Now, Petco at the time, at the last house, was about a 30-minute drive. In this new house that we moved to about a year ago, Petco is now a 45-minute drive with traffic. One right there location, it was just so far and very obnoxious dealing with traffic to do that twice. We always had the same groomer at that particular location, and which was the closest at being 45 minutes away. I loved her. She was great. She was very friendly, and coming from, Go PetSmart, it was nice, like a breath of fresh air working with a competitor company and having such a great experience. It was literally just because of distance that I ended up not doing it. Again, with 2 small children, I don't have the time to always dedicate 1 to 2 hours with bathing, brushing, trimming, everything with Avera. Even though I do love doing that and I'm fully capable of doing it, but it was a lot, especially having both girls at home all day long for as long as we've been quarantined. Just to tell you right off the bat, mobile pet groomer is pretty expensive because you're paying for obviously peace of mind and you're paying for not having to leave your house and having them come right to your door. The van is converted into a grooming salon. We had the same person every single time and he was so friendly. He did everything exactly how I asked him to. Basically, I paid the same amount I would be paying if I took Avera to Petco and PetSmart. I'm paying a little extra just because they're coming to our door. So basically I'm paying for gas and then tip. So it ended up being about $102 including tip. I ended up stopping that. Finally found another groomer who's a little closer, but I do have to take her. Wanted to include that because it was peace of mind because I didn't have to leave my house, especially with being quarantined and not being able to leave the house anyway. This is something I miss and I love so dearly. And my husband and I kind of like don't see eye to eye on it. So this is not sponsored. We basically had HelloFresh for about 3 years. I'm sure everyone has seen those sponsored videos. So you guys basically know how it all works. You get sent basically gourmet meals right to your door, and you can pick and choose the different types, whether you want classic, veggie, or whatever the other option is. You get to pick how many meals you want, how many people, 5 days, 3 days, anything like that. It is a little pricey, but if you factor it in how much you're spending when you actually go get your own groceries, and then how much you're factoring, how much you're eating out, financially, it kind of made sense for us because of the amount we actually spend per eating out. We would be spending much less if we put the money towards HelloFresh and we don't have to think about what we're cooking, which is why I loved it so much. I enjoy cooking. My husband enjoys cooking when I was working 9 to 5, and then coming home, settling, trying to engage with the girls, get everything kind of like settled and organized, ready for dinner. It was aggravating having that conversation, what are we going to eat, and then trying to figure out what that is because we don't meal prep. With HelloFresh, it just made it so much easier having it already figured out a week in advance and then having it shipped to your door with all the ingredients. We never had an issue. We did prefer the classic over like the veggie option. I loved it and I miss it still to this day, and I will have it one day again. So again, being quarantined this entire year, Shipt made things so much easier because it's a grocery delivery service. So it's basically similar to Instacart. I was actually hired by Shipt, but it was when I was pregnant and they took so long. I basically didn't get called to start doing Shipt until like my 9th month. So I never actually delivered for them because they took so long. Because they deliver everything to your door, you can pick from the different stores in your area. And we always pick the same grocery store because that's the one we loved. We were familiar with the store. We were familiar with what they actually carried. The peace of mind in having other people do your groceries for you was literally just mainly at the time eliminating the question from our girls. Oh, can we have this? Can we go down the toy aisle? We have had a couple of issues with them picking fruit that ended up going bad or it was like moldy or something like that, but it's a relatively easy process just contacting Shipt and whatnot. It's nice because we can actually see and know exactly how much we're spending as opposed to making a list and then getting things that aren't on the list or adding a bunch of things just because you're hungry when you're shopping. And it's nice because through the app, your Shipt grocery delivery person is talking to you and communicating with you to exchange things or just letting you know that something's not in stock anymore. It was such a time saver and I miss having it even though stores have now reopened because the next option isn't as great with fruit. Number 5 on the list for the most bougie things would be Walmart grocery pickup. So many people make comments about it because we do the Walmart grocery pickup again because we have girls and with COVID and people touching the carts and not having to deal with going down the toy aisle every single time or having throw fits or just being loud or constantly trying to eat the cart or touching this and putting it in your mouth. It's wonderful that they offer this whole service with grocery pickup. It is free, but they do have delivery service available. People must have become a little more apt to it. Since we've been doing it for about 5 or 6 months. More people have been showing up. So it depends on what time actually you schedule your pickup because you can schedule it in advance throughout the day and you can see which locations in your area have availability. So sometimes I'm actually lucky enough to get it the same day. But I love this option better than the Shipt option just because I can still get the same type of groceries as opposed to getting it at our local grocery store, which costs a couple of dollars more per item depending on what we're actually getting if they sell the same item. And it's nice because you can get more than groceries. Obviously, you can get everything that Walmart carries, which is like a live version of Amazon. It's nice in that aspect too because you couldn't do that with Shipt at the local grocery store unless your local grocery ended up being like Target, but even Target is more expensive than Walmart. Oh, and that is something that we still continue to this day. So we basically schedule Walmart grocery about every 10 days. But those are the 5 things that I have listed, 5 bougie things that make mom life so much easier. Again, they're all things that we have used in the past, at least in the past 3 years or so. If you guys have suggestions or anything you want to add to this list or just comments about it in general, feel free to leave it down below. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Bye. Thanks for watching.